All right, guys, what's up? We just finished the podcast and it was a good one. It was a lengthy one, but we talked about how we found God together,
Mm-hmm.
what made us get baptized, and the experience.
Yep.
We talked about aliens. Are they cake or are they not cake? Is Mexico just playing a trick on us?
Trick or treat.
And then we answered some questions from you guys. So leave more questions in the comments. We love doing them.
Yeah, it was
And
fun.
yeah, and we liked it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, what's up, everybody? I hope you guys can hear me well, as well as my wife.
Hello.
This is our second podcast. And let me say the intro. So it's basically thanks for tuning into Sunday Talk Podcast, where we post any day but Sunday.
Yeah.
It has a ring to it, so I'm gonna just keep using it. But today actually is Sunday, but we're not gonna post today. But today's Sunday. We had a good morning. We woke up, went to church at 10. We were gonna go at 8, but we didn't.
We were too tired.
Yeah, we were too tired, so we went to church at 10. But yeah, we're always late. She's always excited to go worship, but we sometimes go a little late because she takes long to get ready. I know you dudes out there, if you got a woman, you know they take long to get ready, and then they blame you.
Because you wake up at like 10 or like 9:20. We need to leave at 9:30.
I get ready in 10 minutes.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I get ready in 10 minutes.
Next time I'm gonna time you because you don't get ready in 10 minutes.
I want to make like a Sunday church vlog, like day in the life of like people who go to church. What do we do on a Sunday? And I'll literally show that. Okay, I'll get ready. We got to leave out the door in 10 minutes. I'll be ready. 10 minutes, I'll be ready. I'm always ready. She takes long, but hey,
That's not true.
that's how girls are. You know what I mean?
Putting me on blast.
A healthy blast is nothing bad. You don't have nothing, no bad quality, no bad traits or anything. So it's just funny.
Thanks.
But yeah, guys. So today's podcast, we're going to dive deep into how we found faith. When did we find our faith in God? As well as our baptism. What drove us to get baptized, how the experience was, and things like that. We think it's a pretty good like first episode, so we want to just dive deeper into that. And we have 2 questions from 2 people. They're people we know. What?
Don't put that I laughed. It was just funny.
I'm not cutting anything.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because when I cut it, it looks weird.
It's fine.
But
it's
yeah,
fine.
so we are going to answer those questions at the end. But yeah, we got some 2 comments from people. So thank you guys. They're people we know, so
thank you for commenting.
Yeah, like we knew it was gonna be like that in the beginning, and also I haven't done any like promo on TikTok or YouTube Shorts yet, because I just haven't had any like content to do it on. But this is our first episode, so I'll start sharing this a little bit more. All right, guys. So first things first, we're gonna talk about how we found our faith. How far do we go back?
I don't know, because I can go far back with my faith. Like, because I transitioned, you know?
Oh, you right. Well, we can just be not straight to the point. We can add obviously points. That's what it's about. But just to not keep it too long.
Yeah.
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right, I'll go first then. I'm gonna go back, but keep it short and sweet. So, I grew up in Catholic household in Hispanic culture. Being a Catholic is
Catholic.
I know being a Catholic is very common. That's basically how you're brought up, like from your grandparents, etc. So you're raised into it. So I was raised into it. Living in a small town, we would go to church all the time, and it was like very close knit and stuff. But I didn't learn anything. I went to church with my family from like age 0 baptism to freaking.
Did you say age 0?
Yeah.
Oh, when you get
Months
baptized.
and stuff.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, so I got baptized, this and that. And I don't even know who my
Godparents
are, and all that to me is BS, quite frankly. It is.
Don't say that.
Why?
Because I have my godparents from baptism that I still talk to.
But you talk to them as
And they
friends
love
and
me.
stuff, and they love you because they care about you. I guess it's personal, whatever, but I don't care about it. But I'm just saying, like,
Well,
I feel
because
like
you don't know them. Like, I grew up with them.
Yeah, I feel like you don't need that though. Like the Bible doesn't practice that, so
Yeah, I know.
I know it's just like a cult, not a really culture thing, more like
The religion.
yeah, it's a part of the religion, I guess. So I don't want to talk bad about it. Actually, whatever. Ignore what I said. It's
Yeah.
I said it. Oh well, don't mean it.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. So from like being baptized at like months old, not knowing anything, to I'd say like 14 years old, I would continue to go to like, or 13 years old, I would continue to go to like Catholic church, and I learned absolutely nothing. Like I learned nothing at all. And I'd go every Sunday. I even did like some church school and stuff, and like I couldn't retain any information because I wasn't interested in it. Like if I'm not interested in something, like obviously I'm not gonna learn anything. Like I didn't have a connection with God. It was I had like zero connection with God. I didn't want to like care about. I didn't care for it basically. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
He was like an afterthought. I didn't even think about like putting God first or understanding like my stressors. Were I didn't have any of that stressors, worries, anything. I didn't care about anything. I was like free spirited, as in like I just cared about sports and hanging out with my friends and like many kids. But now I see when we go to our church, I see many kids like, or we go to like worship concerts, I see many kids like knowing God, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, dang, I was not like that as a kid, but
It's nice to see.
it's nice to see. It's refreshing to see that I didn't have that, but other kids did. So it shows you that at a young age you can like find God. But for
Yeah.
me personally, yeah, I didn't like care about like God or anything, so I didn't want to have a relationship with Him. You
Well,
from your young age, and then we can go up from there.
okay. Well, for me, I also grew up Catholic. My parents, especially like I'd say my mom,
Yeah,
they're very not they're not really practicing Catholics, but
like it's just
that's
the
what we
culture,
are.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or what we were,
So
what
you
I
so you
was.
associate yourself with.
Yeah. And I had a really strong connection with God growing up because I did do like my catechisms. I did all of my sacraments, and I actually paid attention because I loved having my relationship with God. And I think it was a little bit different because I would do like the youth groups on
Mhm.
Wednesdays,
Yeah.
and I would go with like people from school that I knew.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
it
remember when
was,
I met you. Yeah, you'd go to like retreats and stuff.
yeah.
I never did any of that.
So it was kind of cool because I did experience like the Holy Spirit in one of those retreats,
Yeah.
which was pretty awesome to experience. So I would say that Catholic 100% growing up, I did all my sacraments, like I said, and I did have a good relationship with him. And then I want to say, like, we wouldn't go to church every Sunday, like how you would go to church every
Yeah.
Sunday. But it started happening once I started going to like catechism. To be truthful, is because we had to sign our name every time we attended mass, just so they can make sure that we were attending.
So that's
And
why you went
that's why we would go.
to
Just
church?
my family, yeah.
Wow, just for that.
Well, no, because I wanted to go, but like for catechism, it's a requirement
Oh.
because you have to
Yes, I don't know
attend
anything about any of
church.
that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't want to make fun of it. Like catechism, remind like a tomb of like a mummy or something. But that's besides the point. I don't know why.
huh?
It's because I don't
That
know.
doesn't make sense.
How does it not make
It's
sense?
school. It's Saturday school
Okay.
for Catholics
Mhm.
doing their sacraments.
Okay.
So at the time, I was doing my first communion, and then after your first communion, you do your confirmation.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes.
My
So then,
sisters did all that.
yeah, confirmation. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like a few, I think like a year left or less than a year, and my mom pulled me out.
yeah,
But I didn't learn anything in that class. I was like with my friends, and then we'd do like little work and stuff and answer questions, and then just mess around. But I was like in like third grade.
really. No,
Yeah.
well, for me, I was older, so that's when I
Yeah.
was retaining more information and kind of taking it serious
Yeah.
because I love God and I wanted to have a relationship with God. And I
Yeah.
actually learned a lot. I'm not going to say I didn't, especially in the retreats that we'd go to. I learned a lot, especially when you're in your second year, your first year of your confirmation. You get separated with like the men and the women, and
Yeah.
then you do, they like, there's like speakers that come and they come talk to you about purity and like keeping your virginity and
Yeah.
saving yourself
That's good
till
stuff. That's
marriage.
yeah.
So that was something that I obviously um, retained from our relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did all my sacraments and my relationship was good. But I want to say it wasn't till I started, um, I want to say maybe like my junior year of high school, I was shying away from my practice. And I want to say that it was because of like personal things that was going on at home. So like
Yeah.
I was like not pushing God to the side, but not really.
Like he wasn't your main focus.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
that
I lost
happens a
it.
lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just lost your relationship with God.
Yeah. But as time went on, I feel like I lost my faith just due to like personal reasons at home.
Yeah.
And I didn't have like a strong relationship with God at the time
Mm-hmm.
until later on in life.
Yeah. So now bouncing back to me, like it's crazy to think about how loving God is, where we can push him to the side, like me being so selfish with my earthly desires, just hanging out with my friends and playing sports and traveling. Literally, I was traveling across the country
I
from
know, it's cool.
like age like 12 all the way up to like age 17, going everywhere for baseball. And I wish I had God. Honestly, I wish I had God in my life. But for some reason, like it just wasn't my plan. He didn't have that plan for me for some reason. But it's crazy how loving God is, where we put him to the side. We don't care about him. We shut the door on him per se. And he's still there waiting for us, knocking, waiting for us to open the door. And when we open the door, he's not mad saying, "Why'd you take so long?" This and that. Night just gives us a hug, and we just keep moving on with life, putting him first. And it's crazy how like loving he is that way. But yeah, so like my wife said, she had a good relationship with God growing up, and then she just slowly drifted away towards her later years of high school. And then me, I just never had a relationship. My mom would always push it on us, and we'd read the Bible and things like that, but it was just I never would think about it afterward. I'd just say, "All right, cool." Like my mom just prayed for us. She read the Bible. We read the Bible as a group downstairs, and then that was that. Um, but then like fast forward years. You already live with me. We're married. But did we find God before we were married? Or not really?
Not
Like we
really.
were
No.
kind of, right?
Yeah, kind of talking about it, but that's when we were like in the middle between like Catholic and Christian. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like at that time you knew that you wanted to be Christian,
Yeah.
but I was kind of not trying to disappoint, I guess, like my mom, because every time I talked to her about like transitioning,
They just shut you down and talk bad
yeah,
on the religion, not on us or anything.
yeah. And then like currently like my brother also really talks bad, which also is like really rude. um but I was like basically at that time I was praying because I didn't know if I wanted to be Catholic or I wanted to be Christian.
Yeah.
And then also just like what your mom had told me.
You can go ahead and say it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It's
I
probably not
was
a big
there,
deal,
yeah.
but
It's not a big
it's
deal.
not a big
She meant well, didn't say it well.
yeah. So we were
I could
like
say it.
sitting eating dinner.
It was in the kitchen if
It
I
was no,
remember.
it wasn't. It was
Oh.
you know how downstairs it's the
Yeah.
room now? It was right there.
Yeah.
And we were eating and then they were talking about like their faith and stuff, and then we started
Mm-hmm.
talking about like kids. And then your mom was asking me like what am I, like if I'm going to switch or not. And at that time I think it was just like my pride
Yeah.
where I just didn't want to transition. It was like being very prideful. So then I said no, I'm Catholic and I'm going to say Catholic and I'm going to baptize my kids Catholic. And she got mad, I guess you can say. And she was like, "Well, you're not saved." She's like, "You're not going to go to heaven."
I
And
know.
that made me angry, obviously, because I had a relationship with God. I believed in God. I believe in God.
Yeah.
And for her to say that to me as a Christian was like, you know what, if Christians are like this, then I'm just not gonna transition.
Yeah.
And I feel like at that moment it was just like pride taking over, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna be a Christian. And every time your parents would talk to me about it, I'd get
Mm-hmm.
mad.
Yeah. And full disclosure, guys, She does not. She does not hate her in-laws. We have a good relationship with them.
No, I love my
Yeah.
in-laws.
No, I'm just saying for the people who don't are
Oh
just
yeah,
listening.
I love my in-laws. They're amazing people. God truly put them for me, so I'm very blessed.
And we have like open conversations,
Yeah,
like debates and stuff, and we don't go home and like cry about it. Like,
yeah, exactly. We're
yeah,
not like, oh my gosh, like I hate them.
yeah,
Like I feel like we're all very close knit, and like as I said, we have open conversations with our. Well, they're my in-laws. They're your
yeah,
parents.
yeah.
But it was just like that moment where like your mom said that, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna be a Christian. And
I
like,
know. I remember when that happened too.
yeah, and every time you just talk about like, oh, look at this person that I'm watching like on YouTube, they do this and they're a Christian, and I just
Yeah,
like shut it down. Like I feel like I
you
was,
would all the time. I feel
yeah,
hopeless.
that's sad.
Yeah,
And I just, like I said, it was just my pride and ego taking over. Um, but then I was just like praying and praying because I was genuinely confused. And like there was a moment where like my For You page on my TikTok was just about like Catholics and Christians and this and that. And it was just like I was confused. And I just pray and pray about it, like what God wanted me to do.
mhm,
And then that's when we started talking a little bit about it. And I want to
yeah,
say also um my friend from like a long time ago from high school, she
mhm.
came over to do something with my hair,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and she's a Christian, and she talked to me about it, and she talked to us kind of about like the differences and
mhm,
like Christians versus Catholics, and what she was making sense. But like I said, at that time, like I wasn't accepting of things that were making sense because
mhm.
I was
You were
in,
just stuck on your ways. You didn't want to accept everything that made sense. You just made it or didn't want it to make sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And she was like, well, I'm gonna pray for you guys. Hopefully, you guys can find a church
yeah. I
out
remember. I
here.
remember all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's so nice, and she's a Christian, and
And sorry that Jack bit you, even though she's not watching.
I know. I'm gonna tell her you should watch this episode. But she talked to us about the Christian life and how it's changed her and her marriage and her family,
Yeah.
and I follow her on Instagram and I see things that she
Mhm.
posts, and she's living a beautiful life with her family, and I appreciate her talking to us about it and telling us
That
to
take
find a
because yeah,
church.
it takes courage to bring up your faith or God or anything to people because you don't know one how they'll take it, and you don't know two like if they'll keep talking to you or if they'll like lash out on you or argue with
Yeah.
you and stuff like you don't know. So it's always like a gamble. But like if you ever feel conviction, just do it
And I want to say that like I feel like God put her kind of
in
in
that
that
spot.
moment
Yeah.
because I had not talked to her for years. Like,
I know I've never met her before, and I've known you since 2015. And I've
yeah,
never met her
I
before.
met, she was like my high school friend, or not high school, middle school friend. And then she went to a different high school.
Oh, okay, that's
So
probably
we
why.
didn't talk, nothing. Um, but I had not talked to her for like probably more than 5 years. And then she all of a sudden was in my house
Mhm.
talking to me about faith. And
Yeah, that's the
it's
timing is
crazy
crazy. Yeah.
because that was a time where I was like, I don't know what to do, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I was stuck.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had open conversation about it. And then all of a sudden, the Jesus Revolution movie came out. And
But before you get there, let me just say my piece, like leading up to
oh,
that.
okay, go.
So before we talk about that movie, um, so yeah, like my wife said, I was like bringing up like people that I would watch, and they just so happen to be Christian. So like I was saying, let me find some YouTubers that are Christian. Like they just so happen to be
Yeah.
Christian. It was like solidifying my like idea of like what I wanted to like pursue. But it was obviously hard to pursue something if like your spouse isn't like on board. So obviously when you get married with someone, you need to have core values as a um like core values have to hold the same for both of you because if not, that could be like a lingering issue like down the line for many people.
Yeah.
But at the time we were both Catholic at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So and you wanted to make sure you found someone who was like religious, and then at the time Like I was Catholic, but I never
Oh, when we
attended
first
anything.
met?
Yeah, like you asked me.
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, I'm
cause
Catholic." And you're like, "Oh, okay, that checks off the list." But like we never really talked about God.
yeah, because at that time, like I said, and during like high
Mhm.
school, my freshman sophomore year, I was religious,
Yeah.
or not religious, but I
You're
was
practicing, yeah.
practicing, and I was very close to God. And something had happened, like
Yeah.
stupid, like high school boy thing, and I was like, man, this guy's like really disrespectful towards me, and he just wants worldly things from me. And I was only like in ninth grade, which was really weird. But he was, I think, 2 years older, two
Mhm.
grade levels older than me. And I was like, this is disgusting. Like, I don't like this. And obviously, what am I going to do when I feel hopeless? I'm going to turn to God.
Yeah.
So I was praying, and it's when we went to Six Flags, and I was praying because
Yeah.
me and my family went over to Six Flags for the weekend because
Yeah,
we
oh
had
yeah,
never
which is a
been.
crazy story.
Yeah, we had never been. So we were like, okay. My dad was like, okay, let's just go the weekend so you guys can go for like 2 days, 3 days, and check out the park. And we are like, okay, sounds fun. So it was like me and my little sister and my mom and my dad, and we go to Six Flags. And I remember that night, like he was telling me like really like nasty things. And I'm a really nice person. It's hard for me to say no to somebody. I guess you can say I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. But it's just like really hard for me to say no. But like if I want to, like if I feel uncomfortable, I'll just stop talking to you, or I'll try to like brush away like the conversation. But he was very adamant about what he wanted. And so I just stopped texting him, and then it was like at night, and I started praying, and I said, God, like I don't know why this guy is talking to me like this. I was like, I'm only in ninth grade. Um, and I was just praying about it because I didn't like it. And I said, because at that time I went on to the retreat where it talked about like saving yourself for marriage and what it looks like to live a pure and chaste life.
Mhm.
And like during the retreat, they said that we should start praying for our future spouse.
Yeah.
So I started praying for you. And I said, God, you know what? I'm just going to not talk to any boys. Even though it's like what everybody at that time, like you're a freshman, like most of the girls, like,
Like you're
and
growing
guys,
up and you're
yeah,
like in that age, you want to talk to like the opposite sex and
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to really talk to any dudes that way. I'm just going to wait for your timing because your timing is perfect. And please give me the courage to tell this guy to leave me alone. And what he's doing is not right.
Yeah.
And so I was praying, and then I also prayed a descriptive prayer of how I want my future husband to be.
I know it's crazy.
And I'm not lying. I'm literally not lying. I said, I want somebody who's Catholic because I was Catholic at the time. I want somebody who is tall, who is handsome, who has curly hair, who has a nice smile, who has, I was going to say, not ugly feet. Like it was just little things that, like, as a little girl, like a teenage girl, like
There's
just
a whole
a whole list
list.
of how you want your spouse to be. But it's crazy because I said curly hair. I said has to be Mexican, has to be Catholic, has to have a nice smile, nice feet, like little things like that. And I said, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for you to give me the perfect man, the person you want me to marry. And I'm not going to talk to other dudes in that way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be in a relationship, not engage in anything. And I'm going to just wait.
Mhm.
So we go to Six Flags, and we were actually, me and my little sister were in line for a tatsu. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, tatsu.
Tatsu.
I hate that, right?
And
Cuz you lay on your stomach
yeah,
and
you
I
do.
have I forgot what it's called already.
Claustrophobia.
Yeah, I have claustrophobia. But anyways, go.
Yeah. And so we were waiting in line, and we were literally next, and the ride breaks down. And my little sister is like, I want to wait. So we're like, fine, we'll wait. And then 10 minutes go by, 30 minutes go by, an hour goes by. And I said, Maggie, you know what? Like, we're wasting our time here. We can go on many other rides that are open. So we go all the way down, and I kid you not, when we stepped down, the ride went back on. So we went to go tell my parents. They're like, what happened? You guys didn't go on the ride. And I said, well, it broke down and we didn't want to wait. So my dad said, you know what? That's not cool. So we went to go talk to the worker, and we said, well, we were up in line. We waited an hour. The ride broke down. Can my daughters just go back up? And the guy said, yeah, just wait on the bench and then you guys will be able to go back up.
Mm-hmm.
So we sat on the bench, and it was a pretty long bench, kind of like this couch. And me and my little sister were sitting down, and some random guy just comes and asks me, he's like, can I sit here? And I said, sure. I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, my feet just hurt, and my daughters have been waiting for the ride for a long time. So I want to sit down. And my wife's just over there. And I said, yeah, sure. And there was a couple that was standing next to us, and they're full on making out. Like if they were alone, just making out.
And they're in public.
Yeah, PDA. And the guy looks at them and he goes, promise me you'll never do that in public. He said, this is a family place. There's kids around and there's a time and place for that. And I looked at him and I just thought it was kind of weird that somebody would say that.
Mm-hmm. Like the timing is like weird.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, I won't do that in public.
Yeah.
Which in general, like I wouldn't do that in public. It's just weird. Like it's a family place and I don't want to make out with you like full on when there's like people around, you know?
Yeah.
And so he goes, oh, I'm so sorry if I come off so strong. It's just that I'm a youth pastor in Colorado.
So he was visiting, yeah. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. And he just so happens to sit next to you.
And he so happens to sit next to me.
Yeah.
And he says, I just teach young kids about saving themselves for marriage and etc.
W man in the chat.
No, yeah, seriously. And then he was like, just talking about it. And I was like, just listening. Like, what else am I going to do, you know?
Yeah.
And he goes, and also if you find yourself in a situation where there's this guy who is wanting to do these things with you and
persistent and
yeah, being super persistent and not backing down, you need to be courageous and you need to tell him to respect you and that's not what you want. And he said, walk away from the situation. And I started crying. Because I had prayed for a sign. Like I was like, you know, like help me, like
that's crazy.
Like help me, like this is like horrendous, like I do not like the situation that I'm in. And I just started crying. I'm gonna cry right now because it's cool to see that God's with you, you know?
Literally.
And he was like telling me all these things and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't want to make you cry. And I said, no, it's okay, like it's fine, like I just really needed to hear that. And he goes, I know. He was like, I was standing over there with my wife and God told me to come talk to you about it because I know you're in a situation like that. And then I started crying even more, like I'm going to cry right now. And he says, save yourself. He was like, you need to tell that guy to back off because that's not right what he's doing to you. And then I was just like, man, like I can't believe like God like is listening to me. You know, like God is there for me.
It's a testimony, yeah.
Yeah. And so I said thank you to the guy and I went on my ways to the ride. And then while I was up there, I like messaged the guy and I just told him, I was like, I don't appreciate like the way you're talking to me. Like it's really disgusting, this and that. Like no girl's going to want you if you're going to be talking to every woman like this and stuff like that. And then that same...
Oh, and you can keep talking. I'm going to get you...
Oh my gosh. And then that same night, I prayed again and I said, thank you, God, for what you did. And I said again, I'm going to pray for my future spouse and I'm not going to engage with any conversation with any guys. And in that way. And then, and that was that. And that's history. And then I saw you our first day of school and I thought you were super cute, but I told myself when I saw you that I reminded myself of the prayer that I had said earlier.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to engage in anything, but if it is for me, then it will be for me. And that's how we met.
Yeah, literally, that's how we met. But that's another story. But yeah, like her story's crazy where a lot of people don't know what to do. They're stuck and they want to seek God and they say, God, show yourself to me. Show me you're real. Show me you're listening. I'm suffering. I'm sad. I have questions. I don't know what to do. But I don't see you. I don't see you working in my life, this and that. But you got to remember, like, God's not just going to come walk out of nowhere, be like, hey, I'm listening to you and I'm going to fix your problems and things like that. It's more so he works through people. He sends you messages. He's billboards. It could be music. It could be something you see on your phone. Like he's not directly sending it, but it's just him communicating with you like naturally through like earthly things because he's not going to straight up just come to us. So, but it's crazy that you had like a testimony like that. It's honestly insane. Like, cause I remember when you told me this years ago, and like the describing me part, I was like, ah, that she's lying.
I'm not. I'm
I
seriously
know, I
not
believe you
lying.
now because you're very like honest and truthful. But at the time, I was like, ah, she's capping. She's just like trying to flirt.
Shut up.
But no, it's just crazy. But anyways, like moving from that, her like testimony of like God communicating with her and things like that. That's where me now, a couple years back, I'm now showing her YouTube stuff, and then she was like turning it away because, like she said, it was pride. She didn't want to give in or lose something because she was being judged by others and stuff. So I would be like, "Dang, I'm looking at this fitness dude. He's a Christian. Like, look, babe. All right, babe, look at this
Mhm.
football guy. He's
Yeah.
also super in his faith. Like, he's always saying Bible verses, this and that." And my wife would be like, "Okay, that's cool," but then nothing else of it. And I'll just be like, "Dang." And then that's when I started doing things myself. I was like, "Man, like I don't know what religion is right for me. I don't know what to do, where to look." So I'll just start looking at YouTube videos. I would start looking at like debates, Muslims versus Christians and things like that.
Mhm.
But obviously like organized, respectful debates, not like people pointing fingers and like
Yeah.
trash talking and stuff like that. And then I started looking at like Gideon, the YouTuber, who's like out of nowhere, like confessing his faith. But back then he was like very small with it. Like he would just hint here and there.
Yeah.
And I'd watch him. And then, but like Alex Eubank, the weightlifter, he had like a testimony where he talked like he was gonna kill himself, this and that. And that was like his most viewed video. And that's the one I saw too about like his testimony, like finding God, like in a broken home where like his parents were divorced and things like that. And like for me, like I wasn't. You don't need to find God when you're going through the hardest of battles in your life. Like you don't need to be saved to find God. Because in my life, personally, I was just lost. I was confused. I didn't know which way to go. I was like in a fork in the road. I can go left or right, and I didn't know where to go. But I wasn't like struggling with something or fighting demons or anything like in my head. I just genuinely wanted to know where to find God because I was just feeling conviction to like look to a greater power to lead me in my life as I'm getting older. But obviously people do find God when they're like going through hardships and they don't know where else to look and stuff. But for me, just my testimony, I did not. But yeah, it was mainly like a lot of YouTubers like just opening up about their faith, and it just so happened to be Christianity, and I was just like intertwined in that stuff and learning more from them, and I was like, oh man, this religion is making sense
Mhm.
for me. And from that point forward, um, this movie comes out, and it's called Jesus Revolution. But before that movie came out,
Are you gonna say that you found the
yeah,
church?
before that movie came out, I don't know what conversation we had, but you're like, all right, let's look at Christian churches, see which one we can go to.
Mhm.
I was like, all right. I went on Yelp, I went on Google, and I just like to read the reviews. I look at the stars and then I'll read the reviews. Um, so that's exactly what I did. And it's crazy. We found Harvest Church where we live,
Yeah.
and the reviews were good, and people were saying they learn a lot, and it's like a community that's like very like close niche. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. But nothing ever came from it.
Yeah, we didn't go.
Yeah, we did not go or anything. And then like 6 months later, it was like 6 to 8 months go by. And you see a trailer. I didn't see it at all. She sees a trailer for this movie, and it's like a spiritual awakening of like the 1970s. Like some young teen hippies that are into like drugs and just the psychedelic era. And they realize that that doesn't fulfill them. That's what the trailer's about. And they seek God, and there's this massive spiritual awakening that takes place in Southern California, where people go to Pirates Cove and um, Corona del Mar, Newport, and they get baptized by the thousands. And that was what the movie was about. And it just so happened that our pastor helped create that movie because it was about what he experienced and during that time, which was crazy. We did not even know about it. So we
Yeah.
watched the movie. I remember going to the movie theater. It was raining. Still remember the day, everything. We go watch it, and the whole movie, I was uncomfortable. I like because when I hold back tears and stuff, like my throat
my
gets
gosh.
heavy because I never cry.
Yeah.
I never cry. Like if I could avoid it, I avoid it.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
but it's because that's how I am. I just don't cry. I don't want to cry for
Just cry.
things. Ah, yeah, it's not easy.
Just cry.
It's easy for you. You cry for everything in a good way. In a good way. But yeah, so I was holding back tears, and I know you were too.
I was
And I
crying.
no, like the movie was like so emotional.
Oh yeah.
It was like hard hitting. It was like hitting hard because that was like the pivotal like turning point. Like for both of us together, we're sitting there together, and I know she had conviction. I had conviction to like pursue God in whatever the religion was, like the religion was just an afterthought. We just wanted to pursue God. Like our Holy Spirit was telling us, like, hey, like it's time to like live for something bigger than yourself.
Why are you
But
crying?
no, I'm not. You saying that is not gonna make me cry. But yeah, like seeing that movie like was like the turning point literally for us. It's crazy to like think about. Um so we ended up leaving that theater and you're like, I don't know, we were like, yeah, I want to get baptized where they got baptized. Wouldn't that be cool? And I was like, yeah, that'd be like crazy to get baptized where they got baptized. And I look up Pirates Cove and it was in California. We didn't even know it was in California. Or
Yes,
did
we
we?
did
We
because the
did?
movie's in Southern California.
But they didn't say that. Oh, I didn't notice that part. But I was like, maybe we can get baptized there. And then we look it up and I was like, oh, it's Newport. What?
Nothing.
I didn't know. If you knew, thanks for sharing the info.
What?
Nothing. But yeah. And then I was like, okay, let's look up that. Wait, did I look up the church or did I look up his name?
I think you looked up his name and then you were like, oh shoot.
Oh yeah, because at the end of the movie they show like the actual photos of like the people that
and their names.
yeah,
Yeah.
and their names and stuff. And they're like Greg Laurie or Pastor Chuck Smith passed away and he's the one who had Calvary Chapel.
Yeah.
And then it showed Greg Laurie Harvest Church in Riverside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. I knew because in the movie they asked him like if he wanted to go to Riverside. But he did say it was fake, like that scene wasn't real, but
Yeah.
like that's what I was like, oh, Riverside.
Dang, exposing where we live.
Yeah. We live in a city with like hundreds of thousands of people. They're not gonna find us.
Okay.
But yeah, so I look up Greg Laurie. I was like, Greg Laurie. And I was like, oh, he's the pastor at Harvest Church. And I was like, no way, this is the church we were saying we were going to go to like 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And then one day we just go to church. We're like, all right, this is like a sign. Like God lined everything up for us. And now we're just going to go to this church. Everything happens for a reason. That's the mentality we were going with.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. So we went to the church. And we just went. Everybody was so friendly. To this day.
It's like a little bit weird.
No, it's just something we're not
me.
used to.
Yeah. It's just, I'm not used to it.
Me
And
either,
you're just saying
yeah.
hi to everybody, like, hi, hi, hi.
Like, they're
good
so
morning, good morning, good morning.
welcoming, yeah. Like, it didn't feel fake or like a facade or anything.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, at least.
For me, I don't know, just because because I would go to church, Catholic church.
Yeah.
So it's like 100% like different.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, we just liked it.
Yeah, and they sing in the beginning, which is like worshiping. And then from there, then we sit, listen to the word. And it's cool. I like how he's been doing it since like he learned it from like Pastor Greg Laurie does what he's learned from Chuck Smith and all those people from since the 1970s, where they always say like right when they start their service, like, all right, turn your Bibles to.
Yeah.
Like how they do it all the time. And like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like crazy how something back then that was like so impactful, they're still doing to this day. And it's just, it feels good. And we learned a lot going there. Like we enjoy going on Sundays now. Like we make it like like something mandatory for us to do.
Yeah.
And it's never like a fight. Like, we just enjoy going.
There's only a fight when you take forever to get ready.
I'm ready on the dot.
No, you don't even wake up.
I take advantage of my sleep.
Last night we slept like a ton of hours.
I know we fell asleep at like 7 p.m.
And then woke up for like what, 2 hours?
Yeah, literally.
And then you still were sleeping. And then it still took you forever to wake up.
I know I slept at least like 16 hours.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy to think about. But I have so much energy right now. I feel good. But anyways, this leads us now to us going to church, and out of nowhere they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have baptisms coming up, and they're gonna
And
be
then
at
it was Pirates Cove.
yeah at Pirates Cove," and we're like, "Oh, this is our chance, this is
And
our
we didn't.
opportunity to get baptized, where we want to get baptized, where everybody else got baptized and gave like their life to God, and like it was just a perfect place, perfect timing, everything."
Like it all lined up for us.
Yeah. And like we didn't have any like doubts or second thoughts or anything. Like, it was just, all right, let's do it. We're ready. We're excited.
Yeah. We were super excited.
So then we ended up creating like a not a reservation, like we just enrolled online so they know how many people are going, to like estimate how long like the whole thing is gonna take. So we did that, and then we went, and we went early, and there was a lot of people, massive line. And
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
the only
cool.
that was the only time I didn't complain about like a long line, because I know they're doing it for something good. I was like, all these people are here for
To get
to get
baptized.
baptized, give their life to God, instead of like, dang, look at this long line. Like when we go get food or something, and I'm mad, I don't want to wait
No,
in
when we go to
line.
Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland, I hate the lines at
Really?
Disneyland. Like it puts me in a mood. But there, I was like happy being in line, just waiting for my turn or our turn.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy to think about. And then just us seeing like the movie and the impact that like so many people found God, and we're on those same rocks, same ledge, and then in the same water and stuff. It just felt good that like we were in a very like popular, like, or important place, like turning point in California, because there was like thousands of people. There was like thousands of people, and I don't know, just something I'll never forget. Because when it was finally our turn, someone prayed to us, and he talked to us. He's like, "Okay, you guys know what you guys are doing today?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're
We're
here to
like,
get
yes.
baptized and everything." He's like, "Just remember that you're here because you're giving your life to God, and you have the mindset that God comes first." He's like, "In your life, you guys might get distant with God. You guys might um push him to the side, and just remember why you're here, and in the future when you're feeling distant, just remember why you did what you did, and you'll always get back closer to God." And it's like something that stuck with me, because I still remember it to this
Mm-hmm.
day. And I was like, "Yeah, he's right. Like, we're here for this reason." And like I always tell you, like, if you put God first and God's our foundation, like, we can never go wrong.
Yeah.
And so he prayed for us, and I was like, "Okay, this is getting real." And then we went in the water, and it was cold,
It
but
was
like
freezing.
but like we felt good. Like I still
Yeah.
went in, and like I didn't fight the cold, like, because my mind was somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally meet the guy who's gonna baptize us. And then
He was so nice.
yeah, he was a cool dude. And then he prayed for us as well. He prayed for our marriage, and he just prayed for our journey. And then I went first. And then like as soon as I came back from like above the water, I was just tearing up.
A
I,
lot.
I was like emotional.
Before too, when he was praying, you were crying a lot.
I don't know, like my emotions were like prevalent in the moment.
Your Holy Spirit.
Yeah, it was my Holy Spirit. Like it was like finally you found your answer. It took you like 20 what 23 years of your life, or 24 years, 20, yeah, 23 years of your life, but you like finally found God, and like God's timing is perfect. And yeah, I'm crying, give me some tissue. I'm joking, where's the tears? But yeah, like it was just crazy. I came out of the water, and like I was just so emotional, because like finally like I found like my purpose, which is not to be the world's richest man, which is not to be someone who gets a house like before my peers, or obviously those are my goals, but like my goal, like my purpose is not like riddled in my success. Like my purpose is what I can do to like serve God, because when I put God first, I know I can't lose. And like that's my mentality with everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like it felt good to like finally know my purpose, and it gives me peace in like any hardships that I have in my life, because it puts in perspective that like nothing is, if it wasn't for me, then God's plan is greater. So, and that's something I'm working daily with, and it like gives me peace. So I'm just glad that it worked out the way it did. And like I said, I'm not looking back. And like I feel it genuinely, like it makes me a better person, better husband. And like that's all I can ask for. And I'm like thankful for it, you know?
Yeah. You've grown a lot as you found God,
Mm-hmm.
become a leader in our marriage.
I know I learned so much. And so I like try to practice it. Like the man leads the house, the man, like the Bible is just filled with truth, honestly. Like if you're lost, if you're confused, if you don't know your purpose, if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, open up the Bible, read it. It tells you exactly how to live your life. And this thing was written thousands of years ago, and it holds true to 2024 or 2023.
Dang.
It holds true to 20. I don't know the years. You stop counting after a while.
No.
It holds true to like 2023 and like beyond.
Yeah.
Like what were you going to say before I rudely interrupted?
No, I was just saying that as you found God, you've grown a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember how we used to be in high school and how you used to be. And now you're just a man of God. And it's made you into such a powerful, empowering man.
I know I appreciate you saying that because you're my wife. So like your words like hold the most weight when it comes to me. So like you saying that stuff, like it means a lot and I appreciate it. And every day I try my best. We're humans, we're imperfect humans trying to mirror the image of a perfect man, which is Jesus Christ.
Yes.
We'll always fall short, like our pastor says. We'll always fall short in sin. And sin doesn't mean doing outrageous things, even though many people do, and you can get conviction from sin and repent of your sin and stuff. But sin just means falling short. We're always going to fall short of Jesus Christ.
And I just want to say, too, that just because we identify as Christian and we got baptized, it doesn't mean that we're perfect humans.
Yeah, nobody is perfect. Like I said, we're always going to fall short. We're going to lose our temper. We might say things out of line.
Yeah, like we're not perfect.
Yeah. And like something I always am like struggling with to like defend is because I don't want to say something and like regret it. But like something I struggle with is when like say I do something or you do something and then you're ridiculed for it. Be like, oh, but I thought you were perfect. I thought you were this
gosh.
And I'm just like you could
yeah,
I was like you could never. Those are like the worst like things that people can say because like no matter what you do, like you'll always be criticized. And when they throw like religion in the mix, it's just I don't know, it's just frustrating because
and it's sad because that's currently something that like we're battling. Like it's more directed to me, you know what I'm talking about, versus like you, but like it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard not to want to lash out. It's hard not to want to argue. It's hard not wanting to defend your faith. You know, with those people that say, "Oh, I thought you were Christian. You're supposed to act like this," or "Christians don't gamble," or "Christians don't do this," and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just. I'm not saying I gamble, but like that's just an
They just start
example of something
nitpicking.
that's happened recently, and it's just like so frustrating. But what I've learned is that I used to argue, like for example, like with my brother. I used to argue with him every time he'd bring up my faith because I'm getting so much like not backlash, but like so much like hate from switching from Catholic to Christian with my family, specifically like my brother. And like he just says like the most hurtful things that makes me want to like lash out and defend like my faith and try to help him as well find God. But like I know that in God's time, like my brother will eventually find God. But right now it's just like really hard because he does say things that I would like to say that are out of line.
Yeah.
But as a Christian and just as a person in general, like if anybody tries to tell you things that you know aren't true to yourself, like just try to find peace in it and you know what, just listen to what they have to say and don't lash out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like don't
It's the
put
hardest
yourself,
thing a human can do.
Yeah, don't put yourself down to their level, and if they want to say things and they're hurtful to you, just swallow it up and just say, you know what? Like this isn't for me, or Like in this instance, like I obviously don't want to lose my brother.
Yeah.
So I just say, you know what, I'm gonna pray for you. Or in that moment I start praying for him, you
Yeah.
know? But not out loud, like in my head,
Yeah.
you know? Because it's just things that we're gonna always hear. And
Yeah.
like you say, there's nothing new under the sun. So
Mm-hmm. Like the hardest thing to do is bite your tongue when you found something that like makes you happy and fulfilled and you just want to spread the goodness. You see people hurting, you see people like going through things. So as a loving, caring person, what you want to do is spread that happiness and
yeah.
spread the good word. But some people just aren't receptive of it, and we just need to accept that in God's timing, you know. But all you can do is just keep loving and have an open mind and have pride and humbleness to not fight back. And it's very, very hard, and it's a very hard thing to do, but it's not impossible. Like if God can rise on the third day, then we can bite our tongue, you know. But like what I was gonna say, but I got like my mind went blank while I was talking was like you can't judge a religion off mere people because people are imperfect. And I just truly believe people aren't the best representation of a religion.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
should judge a religion off its morals and its values and what it teaches. Because obviously there's some crazy religions out there that just don't make sense or they do like really weird things. Then you can have your own opinion on it. And but like if a religion is like someone slips up, you can't say, "Oh, look at the Christians again going crazy,"
Mm-hmm.
off of people. Because what if they don't have the best intentions? What if they aren't the best at like representing God? You're gonna judge a religion off that one imperfect person.
Yeah. Like that's what I did,
Yeah,
like with your mom.
yeah,
Like I was like, oh, like
yeah, and that's like to me that's like the lowest of low because it's just you don't give it a chance. But I'm not saying to give it a chance. I'm just saying like
just with our experience.
yeah, like you just it's like the lowest you can go because I just can't find the words. Like I know what I'm feeling, I just can't find the words. Like it's just the lowest you can go because you're shooting down someone's happiness because you don't have it yet, and you try to like bring them down, make them feel a certain type of way, and all they do is try to mean well to you. They're not
Yeah.
forcing you to do anything, or they're not like making you live a certain life.
We're just spreading the good
Yeah,
word
we just want you to
to
like
those that we truly love with all our heart.
mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. And I don't know, the Bible holds a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot of what is it called in the Bible when it's fact when it becomes
Prophecy?
yeah, there's a lot of prophecy in the Bible. The most prophecy out of any book ever written. How it predicts the future and now it's in the past
It
because it's
happens.
happened and it's legit. Like just look up biblical prophecy and you'll see everything that has happened. And right now something crazy that's happening is like the mark of the beast that's slowly happening.
Yeah.
Like they thought it was in barcodes. I forgot. I don't remember why. Excuse me.
Ugh.
ASMR.
Ugh, that's
But they
nasty.
thought it was in like biblical but they thought it was in the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast was in barcodes, I mean. But they
I
saw
don't
like it
know.
wasn't because you literally have to like put something in you or and stuff like that. And like now we're getting closer to that. And like that's just one example. There's like so many things that have happened.
Like the Euphrates River.
Yeah, like drying up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's just a lot of crazy stuff that just holds true to this day and that has happened and makes sense. But that's just all we wanted to talk about today. Um,
Yes.
which was just us finding our faith, how we found our faith, and then
I think that was one of the questions, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll check them out right now. But I just wanted to add that I've been wanting to say it. I was like, oh, this is perfect to say in the podcast of what happened in Mexico.
What happened in Mexico?
The the doctor, or whatever, or the scientist.
The
Yeah,
aliens?
he found two aliens in Peru.
Oh.
But like,
Peru's not Mexico though.
yeah, but that's where they found them, and that's where they're from. But they look so fake. I don't know why they did that or what was the purpose of it. Why do you think they did that?
I think they did it because Look at me, I'm turning into my sister with the conspiracies. Um, I don't know. Didn't they just like the U.S. government just recently started talking about like aliens?
Yeah, the U.S. government did.
And then so I feel like now they're just like all of a sudden digged up some aliens. Like I don't know why they would do it, honestly. Like all that stuff, like it doesn't.
I know, like here, I just looked up on AP News. Scientists call fraud on supposed extraterrestrial presented to Mexican Congress.
They
Like
just look fake.
they swore under oath and everything. Well, yeah, they have like massive heads and massive hips, and they look like a stereotypical alien that
They
you
look
see in
like
a movie.
E.T.
Yeah, that you see in a movie or show. Like, what are the odds of that?
It's just weird.
Yeah.
Like they're like, okay, this is E.T. Let me just make them a little bit smaller because they're small, and like we said, like they're mummified, right?
Yeah.
Like when we saw like the other mummies that were mummified, like that one girl.
Yeah, they're not in that perfect
She
position.
was like all twisted.
Yeah, they're not in that perfect
They're not going to
position.
be laying on the bed
On their
like
backs,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It says right here, Mexico City, supposed aliens landed in Mexico's Congress, but there were no saucer-shaped UFOs hovering over the historic building or bright green invaders like those seen in Hollywood films. The specter of little green men visited Mexico City as lawmakers heard testimony Tuesday from individuals suggesting the possibility that extraterrestrials might exist. The researchers hailed from Mexico, the United States, Japan, and Brazil. The session unprecedented in the Mexican Congress took place 2 months after a similar one before the U.S. Congress, in which a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer claimed his country has probably been aware of non-human activity since the 1930s. Yeah, they've been aware of non-human activity. When have they found an alien? Yeah. Like, it's just, to me, it's sus.
Like, they're making everything line up, like, perfectly. You know, like, okay, the U.S. started saying a little bit about aliens, and then they confessed that aliens are real.
It says right here, the scientist said the shriveled bodies with shrunken, warped heads left those in the chamber aghast and quickly kicked up a social media fervor. What the fudge? Oh, I thought they said that they did that over time. But never mind, it says that they're just built like that naturally.
It's weird.
Sounds fake, huh?
Weird.
It says the DNA is showing us that they are non-human, that they ran the DNA and it says they're non-human beings, and that there is nothing that looks like this in the world. We should take it as such.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I feel like they made it and it's cake. You saw that video?
Like the video, I honestly thought when you showed me the video, I thought it was legit. Yeah, I literally thought it was cake.
It's legit cake.
But no, like, it just looks really weird. I don't know.
But anyways, I think it's fake. I think they're trying to distract us from something bigger. And Mexico, sadly, like, that's our country and stuff, but they never really have anything crazy to like show the world. So maybe this was their chance, to like do something. I don't know.
It's just weird. Comment if you think aliens are real.
Comment if you think aliens are real. All right, let me see the video.
What video?
Comment the questions. I'm pulling them up. So first is from James. The first one that popped up. He says, probably a forever universal debate. Haha. Can a male and a female only be truly best friends?
No.
Not counting married couples. Haha. Because, yeah, you're my best friend. So not counting us.
Yeah.
Could we ever, like, so you have a male best friend and I have a female best friend?
No, James. No.
Why not?
Because there's always going to be somebody who either gains feelings or has different intentions. It's just you're setting yourself up for failure if you think, like, for example, I'm like, oh, Jose, like, I have this guy and he's my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, we do.
Even saying that sounds crazy.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we do this and stuff. Oh, I'm going to go out with so-and-so today. He's my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just weird.
It sounds crazy.
Because my intentions can be, okay, yeah, he's my best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then this guy could be, like, gaining feelings for me or seeing me in a different light and wanting to do different things.
Yeah, like, you can see them as a friend, but you don't know
Their
those
intentions.
people's intentions. Yeah. We went to this, my sister invited us to this Bible study,
Mm-hmm.
and it was couples Bible study. And that question popped up,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
And these are grown people that have been in marriage for like 20, 30 plus years.
And not gonna lie though, if you had a girl best friend, I'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. I feel like that's a red flag.
Like I'd be like,
In
we're
this
not getting married.
generation, because people are crazy in this generation. And they're trying to normalize a lot of craziness. Like, obviously, like, you can have you can be friends with someone, but as you get older and you prioritize, like, your relationship, like, friends kind of drift away, like, naturally, like, it doesn't make you weird or lame, like, it just naturally
Yeah, like
happens.
that's what my coworkers and I were talking about. Because there's some coworkers that don't have like a relationship, and there's some that do.
Yeah.
And then when we talk, I like burped a little bit.
I'll cut it.
And then when we talk, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with these people, but I'd much rather hang out with my man."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, like me too. Like I want to hang out with you any chance I get, because like
Yeah.
again, you're my best friend, and I'd rather spend my time with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be weird if I'd be like, okay, babe, I'm gonna go hang out with Jack. You know, like we're
Yeah.
gonna go to the movies and we're gonna go have dinner.
Yeah.
Like that's weird.
Like, dude, James, like, this doesn't make me insecure as a man because I know who I have as a partner. Like, when you date someone, like, you can see their tendencies and, like, what they want. And if they fight you on it, like, you know what they want. Like, if they want to
Mm-hmm.
put their friends before you, etc. I'm not saying that with your relationship if you have one or anything like that. I'm just saying in general, like, that, like, you kind of notice those things. But I'm not saying it because I'm insecure. Because I know how people are. I've had friends that don't care. I've had friends that, like, they know they're taken and they still try to, like, make a move on a girl and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's more so, like, you just naturally, when you find someone, like, you want to spend when you truly love someone, you just want to spend every second with them.
Yeah.
Like, time goes by quick. You want to do everything with them. And, like, other people become an afterthought naturally. Like, naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just feel like no, like if anybody ever says like, "Oh, my best friend is a
Like,
guy,"
you got to watch them carefully.
or "My best friend is a girl," like that's just a little bit weird.
Yeah, because they
And
get too
if
comfortable.
they get comfortable and then say, "Okay, maybe they are best friends," right?
Yeah.
And then they're in a relationship now, and they start saying, "Oh, I need to do this with my best friend," instead of doing things with
Yeah, they
you.
don't prioritize
Like that's
you.
weird.
Yeah, like, but then you
Like you
know
said,
their values, you know what they.
exactly. And like you said, like naturally they start drifting away. Like me,
Mhm.
when we first started dating, I drift away from all my friends.
Yeah.
Like all of them,
Yeah.
because I would much rather have been with you,
Yeah.
because you're my boyfriend and I was taking it serious,
Mhm.
you know.
That's not. I feel like, yeah, just, bro, like, it's a universal debate, I guess, but like 9 out of 10 times, I'm sure you won't find people who their best friends are the same
Opposite sex.
sex unless they're,
Opposite sex.
yeah, opposite sex unless they're like, yeah, never mind.
But what do they say? When we went to the
Oh yeah,
small
so
group,
this lady, the pastor's wife.
she works in
Like,
an office.
yeah, she's like, I work in an office setting, and like, I made this rule myself because you don't know people's tendencies over time. And like you said, people can, like, get the wrong message or build, like, a connection with someone over things, like hanging out with someone for a prolonged period of time,
Mm-hmm.
which can be like a best friend that you've known for years. They can build a relationship over a prolonged period of time. So she's like, if I'm in the office and it's me and a lady and a guy, then yeah, I'll stay in the office. But if it's me and a guy, last two in the office, I'll take my work home, finish my work at home. Because I don't want to be in a setting where it's me and the opposite sex. Yeah, we might not talk, we might not anything, but you don't ever know people's intentions over time or in the moment, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's just taking yourself out of a situation that is weird or uncomfortable.
Yeah, because like we can be like, okay, like I don't, this guy doesn't mean anything to me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But that guy could be like, oh my god, Carolina's talking to me all the time, or
Yeah, they get
we
it.
get
They take
along
it the wrong
well,
way.
and
Yeah,
stuff like that. You know, like it's just you cannot.
you can't read people's minds.
Yeah, I just think no, James.
All right, bro. There's your question answered. All right, next from Yvette. 'Cause I remember I said Yvette.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm still gonna call you Yvette because that's how I would always say your name, Yvette.
all right, there you have it. So here's the question for the both of us. When was the moment you had realized you believed in God and why? So we talked about how we found God and all that, but what was the moment that we believed in God and why? It's like a very heavy question.
Yeah.
Sounds complex. You wanna go first or me?
You.
All right, so I'm gonna just come up with it on the spot. Like I feel like I've started believing in God when that's a really great question.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't like a specific moment like, "Oh yeah, I believe in God." Like I think it's just like over time you reflect on your life and like you reflect on things that's happened to you and you're like God is real,
Mhm.
cuz like we
That's
have
actually a good way to put it.
yeah, like God's real. Like look at the things like for example, like with what happened in our relationship when I found you. That
Mhm.
guy came up to me and told me stuff. Wow, God's real.
Yeah.
He's listening to me. Our current circumstances right now. Like we're able to we don't know how with our finances, like we're completely good on our finances. Everything's always what we need and more.
Yeah.
And we have two new cars, 2023 car, 2022 car. Like, how did we get here? You know? And it's
Yeah, like
just,
people can say it's your success or working hard.
yeah, but like it's deeper than that. Obviously you can work for your things and you can work for your
It's like
materialistic
the
things,
journey.
but it's just like, how did I go from not having anything and like being so negative in life and thinking I'll
Mhm.
never be able to get a new car and thinking all this stuff and being like a pessimist to
Mhm.
like, wow, we have two brand new cars.
Yeah.
We're on the journey to getting our first home and all these things. And it's just God's there. Like
Yeah.
it's God's work at the end of the day. That's how I see it.
Mhm.
I don't see it like, whoa, this happened. I believe in God. Yeah. It's more like, look at all the things that's happened and played out in my life. Like, I know God's real.
Yeah.
Not I believe it, but I know He's real. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And like I'm gonna piggyback off that. Like I found out like God was real basically, yeah, off things we've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
Like hardships or like just being tested.
Yeah.
The more you're tested, like say you're tying your shoes. The tighter you tie the knot, the more tension you have in your life, the stronger the knot, the stronger the bond with God.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I see it. And like for me, I've basically found out he was real like throughout the whole religion like fiasco thing, like trying to figure out what we wanted and stuff. Feeling lost and all these questions were being presented to me as if like a light was shining down my path, telling me where to take my step.
Yeah.
Like for some people, it might be they might find God in like a crazy awakening or
Wow, I was gonna say that.
yeah, like a crazy awakening or like
They had to go through like really hard
yeah, they
things
had to
to
go
be
through something
like,
crazy, or they might find them in the heat of the moment, like just spiritual awakening where they just open their eyes and realize something in the moment. But for us, I feel like it was a buildup because really didn't have um like suffering in the world to like seek God. It was more of like these hardships that we face that God started lighting up our path to find Him and follow Him.
mm-hmm.
So that's how I found out I believed in God was He was lighting my path when I didn't even know it, and it brought me and you
Yeah.
to this point in our life, which was going finding the church, watching a movie that was about God and making us question ourselves and getting baptized and yeah, stuff like that. And then one last question. It's not really a question, but Julian wrote a long message saying, "You know what's crazy? Like a week ago, I was watching videos about the world is flat, and to be honest, I don't think anyone knows. But I will say we will truly find out next year if NASA actually takes people to the moon. Space is one of my favorite things to talk about. Bro, the world is not flat for
I didn't even
starters.
know NASA was taking people to the moon.
And yeah, he said he was looking at videos like nonstop. Like he got into that little realm
Mm-hmm.
of like YouTube, and it was just showing him video after video, and then they're gonna take people to the moon. I was like, but bro, didn't they already take people to the moon?
I know that's a good point.
Yeah, didn't they already take people to the moon to find out? But what did he say? I don't think. Oh, he's talking about the world being flat, bro. The world's
Yeah.
not flat. People have been on the moon supposedly, unless it was a Hollywood studio, which is a
Which is underwater.
forever great review, forever a great not review
Conspiracy
conspiracy. Yeah,
theory. I want to
but
say the Earth is not flat.
it's not flat. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I think we're gonna end it here. I don't know how long it is. I'm
I
pretty
know.
sure
I kept
it's
thinking about that.
pretty sure it's really long. Naturally, we didn't some because we just go. We just go. But yeah, we're like I said, we're trying to make a video weekly. So here's this week's video.
Mhm.
I don't know when I'm gonna drop it. Hopefully Tuesday
Mhm.
morning it'll be ready. Tomorrow I work on it, which
Mhm.
is Monday.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Mhm.
thank you guys for
Mhm.
listening.
Mhm.
My wife and I appreciate it. This is Sunday Talk Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything. And yeah, we'll post any day but Sunday.
Yes.
And leave a question. If you guys hopefully yeah,
Oh,
they're not even gonna see this. I was gonna say if you guys see this on TikTok, I'm not gonna post it on
it's
this
fine,
specific
it's
thing.
fine.
But yeah, if you guys made it this far, just leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a question because that's actually kind of fun, like answering
Yeah.
questions.
Leave more questions for us and we answer them at the end. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. This is my beautiful wife, Carolina, and I'm Jose, the host.
My handsome husband.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
because it's true. Come on now. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I'm kidding. But yeah,
relax.
thank you guys for listening, viewing, and watching. And I hope you guys can subscribe and just thank you for listening and throughout your day or whatever you're doing. We appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate it.
And just have a good one, guys. Peace.
Have a good one, guys. Peace.